Welcome everybody to our unusual start tonight. We had some computer problems, so we're going to join the meeting in progress. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm sorry you have just missed Doug's fantastic Halloween presentation of RoboDog, where he showed the amazing ability to start with basically white PVC and turn it into what is apparently copper pipe for his steampunk RoboDog. And just as a quick tease, maybe Doug, if you could speak something to grab the presentation and then hold it up to show.
PVC coated with primer to make the rub and buff stick. This is what rub and buff is. You use just a teeny bit of it and it goes a long way. There's lots of YouTube videos, and that turns it into what appears to be copper pipe really easily. You just kind of rub that on. Supposedly you can buff it and make it shiny, but that didn't work for me. But it still looks nice and coppery.
Cool, thank you. Yep. So that was Doug's update and recap of his update. So now we're on to the next part of our meeting, which is anyone else in queue? I am, but I'm not ready. So open mic. Good, there we go. Ray's got something. Ray, what have you got?
Okay, I have been working on my differential drive robot. See if I can show that. That one right down there. I've got the speed up by basically double. But it's still probably going to have issues with the caster. It's only got a 3-inch caster, and I assume Steve's property is not going to dry out in the next, 18 days or so and not have huge cracks in it. It'll probably have huge cracks in it. So anyway, the caster kind of rolls into the cracks, and it kind of like is like a pin to hold the thing in there. And and the other thing I find going twice as fast, instead of like 1 meter, stopping 1 meter before what it thinks is the actual target, I'm going to back it up to 2, because I found in a lot of cases it went beyond where the cone was supposed to be. And I could go triple speed, but things happen pretty quick, and I'm still just using a bumper for avoidance or obstacle avoidance. And that's pretty fast to ram into things. I'm also going to try to get the 4-wheel drive platform going. And that is this one. Let's see. Yeah, 4-wheel drive platform with the, that one utilized, I guess they were seat motors, like automotive seat motors. But that'll get rid of the issues with little caster finding cracks in the ground and getting stuck. So, because it's got 4 10-inch wheels and all of them are driven. And so I'm thinking the way to go in the future is 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive with big tires that can handle mud and cracks and clumps of grass and everything else. So it doesn't have suspension per se, but it is on like a 1/2-inch sheet of, I'm not certain what kind of plastic it is. I got it from the back of, was that Albertsons when we pick up food for a food bank, like every other Friday, and they have all kinds of junk back there. And this was it was actually molded into a drawer, and it's fairly thick but fairly flexible. So that's kind of the suspension. It will twist a little bit. So anyway. Horse apple proof, I don't know. It's still going to have like maybe 3.5-inch ground clearance, and I'm hoping with all four wheels rotating or driving that it's going to, overcome horse apples. Or, I could just scan the course and, talk to Doug and Steve about it and say, you mind if I kick these horse apples under the tree here, So remove the obstacle. So anyway, that's all I got.
Well, that's some kind of progress. So you're going to have something for us on the 17th, right?
Ooh, I thought it was the 18th.
Or 18th. Okay.
and we've all seen you cheat before. So
okay, so mitten throwdown like that, Steve, I think you've just volunteered for an update. Scott, did I say Steve? Why did I say Steve? Sorry, Scott.
Well, I had to go to different sensors on belts here because I was using this 3D camera, and I've shown it before. But the problem was in the direct sunlight, it would just stop working. Basically, you would get an error code and stop updating the length. So I just figured that out last weekend or weekend before last. So I kind of kludged on these sensors here. I've been trying to get those working, and they have a real narrow beam there. It's like 3.5 degrees. So there's not a lot of vision there. So that's been a challenge. And now it's too damn wet to go test it outside. So I have the indoor wheels on. That's these smaller wheels. So I've been trying to kind of test it indoors to see what kind of field of vision it's going to end up having. And these brackets here rotate, so I can kind of adjust the eyeballs, if you will. But I still need to get the wider wheels on it because that almost doubles the width of this thing, which is going to affect the field of vision that I need to keep from running into something. But I keep reminding myself there's nothing but really big bushes, out there on the course. So it's not like you got to really find something small, right? I'm trying to drive around cardboard boxes indoors, so it may be a little bit different challenge, but I think it'll be ready. I mean, I've got my other one, Turd, is I've been working on them both back and forth, and they're both working to some degree. So
I think you'll have both out there. You're gonna run two this year? Will you run two this year?
Yeah, I'm planning on bringing both of them out.
So what are those sensors that you're talking about? What did you add?
They're how do you pronounce it? The Benawake. They're time of flight sensors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think one of them I bought for the contest, prize, and then I was like, yeah, this works pretty good because it's really stable. Turd's got kind of a homemade time of flight from some leftover material from work that I had. But the readings bounce around quite a bit, and it's got a 38-degree field of vision. So these being such a narrow field of vision, I'm hoping they don't get, reflections off the grass and, cause false trips. So, it's like looking through a keyhole versus, drinking out of a fire hose, I guess. Which one's going to work better?
So you have two of those, and they're just kind of
No, there's
pointing
three
off.
of them. There's
you got three of them.
one that's mounted in the center, and then I have a left and a right.
So do you have to trigger each one so they don't interfere with each other, or?
No, you just power them up, and they start puking up data.
Yeah.
It runs it it's every 10 milliseconds. So what's that? 100 hertz.
Yeah.
So, but you don't even have to. I'm using the UART version, and they have an I2C one too. You can actually change the protocol. on these. But with the UART ones, you just power them up and boom, there's data. So it makes the software pretty simple.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to go like 12 meters outside. Was that right?
I don't think they have different models. I think these are 8, I want to say 6 or 8
Oh, okay.
meters, but that's still, and this has these have got centimeter resolution, so it's not, it's not a super accurate resolution. A lot of the time of flights are down to a millimeter, right? So, but for what I'm doing with them, a centimeter resolution's fine.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at the 3D camera. Man, when it's facing the sun, you can't get anything out of it.
Yeah, I found when I'm using this little, it's another time of flight camera. The OpenMV H7 does not like whatever, I guess it's whatever it is, the vertical cavity laser. It does all kinds of weird things. It starts like adjusting it or trying to adjust itself, or it looks like you're pointing it towards the sun, it gets washed out. But when that, and it seems like it changes intensity, and the OpenMV H7 doesn't like that.
Well, this 3D camera that I was using, it has like a fault code. Part of the metadata that you get with the reading is, the value of the reading, how accurate it is, or how, they call it a confidence level. And then you even get an error code. So you can kind of evaluate that and say, well, if it's, and that's what my software does, is it says, well, if it's pitching an error and it has low confidence, then just keep the last reading. Hoping that, it'll come back around. And it will. As soon as it runs into something, it's normally in the shade. So, then it would start working until it looked in the sun again. And then it was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Or it just thought, there's an obstacle there, depending on, where the thing just, shut down at.
It kept sending you WS, that was for white stick, white stick,
How high is the sun in mid-November over there?
Low in the sky.
Yes, I don't know what would be apogee. I don't know. It's fairly low. I don't know. Just looking at it in clocks. I don't know what. Maybe 3 or 4 o'clock. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember when we had our meetings at the makerspace, and I'd have to leave there. I don't know, 4:30 or so. To stop it, get to Tanner's before it closed, and then go over to the makerspace. And I should have wore a welding helmet, because that sun was like, when you're going down 121, it was like right in your face, right in your eyes. It's like, oh my God, I can't see what the heck I'm doing, So these meetings have probably saved my vision, because I don't have to drive now into the sun,
Well, it was a little disheartening, because I spent a lot of time getting that camera to work. I mean, the thing, the packet of data is like almost 4K of data. And then you got to parse it up and, integrate it into the logic. A lot of effort.
Your voice just got real low, Scott.
Yeah, same here.
And they hear a high-pitched something.
We can't hear you.
Monday, all over again.
Yeah, your voice cut out pretty much.
Talking my voice?
Yeah. Just fiddle with some wires on your desk. Maybe it'll make connection again or something. No.
That's all I got.
Well, Scott, we have high expectations for you. You know, you've set yourself on a pretty high pedestal there, so no excuses, you know.
Oh no, there's plenty of excuses. Especially
Plenty of excuses. This is just not our night for technology. I don't know what's going on here, but okay. So does anyone else have something? I have something, but I'm still a couple image copies away from being able to show it.
I have a couple things I could show.
Excellent, John.
Waiting.
Yeah.
So let me click on, I hope, the right window. Do this.
I guess it's not a bad thing not hearing Scott.
We're not going to comment, are we?
All right. Well, we're at least going to have fun on the 8th, whatever that weekend is.
We'll see, right? Yes. So, and the theme of today being Halloween, I found this. So, instructable. So, and I don't know if I click here, I'll get a bigger picture. I don't really want to open that. So we'll scroll down the bench and get to their sub-window. But it looks like it did a pretty good job of documentation on that on it. So it goes down here. It's about the supply. And it looks like they use, somewhere in here I thought Raspberry Pi for it. Lots and lots of parts, it looks like, though. So you might want to start on it this year for next year. Because, in a real remote, seemingly they can run it. And you can see the fingers are definitely 1, 2, 3 servos per.
So is that another example of rub and buff, or kind of looks like it?
Well, it's the hand that walks along on the floor like that.
No, the finish on the plastic parts.
Oh, the finish? I'll have to go back to see exactly what they put on there.
Yeah, right there. Oh, well, maybe not.
They may have put paint or something on top of it.
Yeah.
He talks about
We're
the
impressed with
design.
Hey, John, can you go back up to where it said there's more images?
Well, I really didn't want to click on that one image.
No, slide down. Up one, I think. Up.
Well, there's the description. There's all the parts.
But somewhere it said there was a bunch of other images that they haven't
There's
shown.
a video over here that I was going to click on toward the end.
Slide down.
Okay.
Don't go so fast.
Let's see the parts. Paint, 3D painter, right? Acrylic paint. Yeah, you use acrylic paint, basically to get the different colors going on right there. As I say, it has lots of parts to it. It looks like that looks cute. It looks like it can walk along pretty good.
That one. Go up there. More images. Click on the 5 more images.
If we don't get back to this page, there will be a reason why, but okay.
No, it should just give you more pictures.
It's kind of curious. So it has a ball caster in each fingertip?
So now let's get down to more of the actual design. So, okay, so there's that. Assembly. Okay. So, looks like, it has the servo in there and just moves it. Okay. As I said, it's very well documented. So, but it has lots and lots of parts to it. Okay. And it has a remote.
Pico W.
So yeah, there's, as I said, remotes to it, and a custom bore for it. Okay. So you can see how it can lift itself up and crawl. So it's pretty good. And it looks like it was very well documented. So I would say something that definitely want to look at more closer in digest.
It was listed on Hackster.io as well, so I put it there.
Okay. It looks like it used a Python server library. Yeah, as I said, it looks like it's well documented, and it's probably something that would take a year to do. Let's see what happens when you click on that one.
I wish my hand worked that well.
I was gonna say things not very fast moving, is it?
Yeah, it probably can't go a lot faster. It's slowly building up. It looks like the music slowly building up in the background. Up a little.
Just as long as it doesn't go autonomous and end up like
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a good size too. Look at that.
Oh yeah, it's not small.
Looks like you've got a young Wednesday Addams there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't know what to do with it. So I thought that was interesting. As I said, it's well documented, so definitely I would say it's something to look into. If nothing else, but with all the documentation it has, it's pretty good. And then the other trash I have is, let's see, we'll go this one. So there's this thing, this arm, and it looks like it's very interesting arm, okay? And it says down here that it uses a cyber gear motor. So does anybody know what that is? Exactly?
I have a clue.
A special motor or what? Because I don't see exactly where it fits in there or how it could fit in there even. So that's sort of the trust I have because, in theory, there's a motor there that turns there and like there. So it looks like sort of flat, and it's not that big of a motor. So that's the one problem with this one. They don't have very good documentation for it, or if they do, it's, well, who knows what that is.
If you could just Google Zyme cyber gear motor.
I didn't really find one offhand. So, but, it's 3D printed and it looks nice and relatively compact. So that was what caught my eye. And I guess it has strength to lift from that.
I just pasted a link for the motor.
So how bad is the price of the motor? That was the part that I was curious about.
Expensive.
$90 each.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay. So they had, because there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, maybe not such a good design then.
Well, hey, just because it uses an expensive motor.
Yeah. Yes, but they're bound to be cheaper in my mind. So there's that. And then there's this one, okay, which actually looks better overall in the sense that is more detailed, more instructions. So it seemingly can use this actuator and that. So what did I get there? Okay. So this one, I think, could use a cheaper one. So yeah, it looks like, this would be a better deal than of the two. Okay, use that Neon 17 with, and it looks like it's well documented. And that. So basically, this is the better one of the two, documentation-wise. Talks about the software. So that one looks better. Then for a little drag car thing, they had that. I know it won't work outdoors, these, but I know it's on this one. They have their own compass and that up on away from the motor. We discussed the other week about having the compass away from the electronics. So that was a little bit of design interest. Oh, and then there was this. This one, unfortunately, doesn't have any real motors, but it sort of interesting in the sense there was a thumb that you could print. So that's sort of the things I found for today. With the one being most interesting was probably the one that did the documentation for the Adams hand arm, and then the other thing would have been this arm. So those were the two things. So are you ready? Carl?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay then. So let's see. Maybe at this point, I'll jump in. So there's Blues. Oh, before I jump in, I don't want to forget. Way back earlier, half an hour ago, Ed was asking about horse apples proof. So can somebody jump in and explain the reference to horse apples and why they are so relevant to they're the next PID loop for our discussions here at DPRG. Ray, I think they're your favorite object on the course, aren't they?
Oh yeah. I don't know. Is that it's a seed pod of some tree that grows?
Bodart.
Is it a bodart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they drop in piles. Lots
How
of
big
them.
are they?
About the size of a croquet ball, I guess.
Oh, they
Yeah,
can be
probably
about
like 3 inches in diameter.
Maybe a little bigger than that. I mean, they'll fit in your hand.
So around
Kind of
3 or
has the
4
texture
inches.
of an orange on the outside, but it's not orange colored. It's like a green color.
And
I
it
was
can be
picturing
washed.
something a little more dirty than something that fell out of a tree when you mentioned horse apples.
No.
Well, the key is they can be squashed as they get ripe. So,
They're just the right size to, hang up your platform, get underneath it and have all your wheels spinning, not touching the ground anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and if you have obstacle avoidance, it pretty much you're in it before you there's no way out unless you just completely retreat. You know what I mean? Because it was like a field. So,
and they're relatively low to the ground.
Well, I mean, they're on the ground. I mean, can you imagine if somebody went out and took say 25 softballs and just threw them on the ground in front of the path, and you got to drive your robot through it. It was an interesting thing. And I think the thing that got Ray in the end was, I think he did get hung up, but for a while he was sloshing through them, but he was slowly getting obstacle avoidance into a bigger problem. You know what I mean? Otherwise, he kept turning towards the trees themselves, and because they were hitting it, showing up as being really close, so the trees were out of the picture. But in the macro scale, he was slowly moving himself into the trees.
Yeah, it kind of depended on. I've only got 2 bumper sensors, and if it hits the right one, it tries to go to the left. And if it hits the left one, it tries to go to the right. And it's a simple thing, but doesn't always work so well.
Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting problem.
Yeah, in fact, here is you got to be careful when you do an image search for that term, but
Oh yeah.
But you can understand the analogy once you see them. So I'm narrowing in on the ones that are relevant for this discussion. And yeah, we had a lot of them when I grew up in Pittsburgh. And you can see the size of them like that. So they're really great for robots. Ray's favorite. So I have my fingers crossed that the judges will very carefully route the course through the monkey patch again.
Right through it, right down the middle.
Through. That's what we need to see. Okay.
I've got a short little update, Carl, if you're not ready.
Jump right in, then I'll go right after you, Pat. What you got?
Just an update. A couple of weeks ago, we were looking at the Sharp sensors. I'm just going to share my screen, I guess. I was mentioning that I put a couple of these on my robot. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Sharp little analog infrared range sensors. And the readings were bouncing around all over in my analog inputs. Nothing very steady. I need to get a couple capacitors. I ended up buying a 600-piece set from Amazon because there's nowhere to buy any sort of capacitors, like I say, with affordable shipping. Everybody's like $10 or $13 shipping on, 2 capacitors. So Amazon to the rescue for $20 Canadian to get a 600-piece set to get a couple resistors. So that's where I am waiting for parts. Just a little tidbit. We used to have Radio Shack that, you can go pick up a couple of resistors for a few dollars off the shelf and whatever. Those are pretty much.
You still have Radio Shacks?
We have The Source, which bought out Radio Shack in Canada.
Okay.
the Source by CC, Circuit City at the time.
Okay.
And they don't sell anything besides cell phones and TVs. And
Okay.
so their electronic supply is pretty much gone and dried up. So everything is mail order now.
Mm.
And I don't know about down in the States, but here everything is, free shipping if your order's over $150.
All you got to do is spend. Make it worthwhile.
That's it for me. Otherwise, I've been in drawing land for work.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, I'm going to give a kind of a tool update, and this is it's computer related, and to that extent, is maybe robot related. But it's I don't know how many folk online have ever seen or played with these diamond tipped screwdrivers.
Diamond tipped screwdrivers.
Oh, let's see. One person I see a hand on. So this is just, I'm going to say as I learned at TI, this is the cat's meow. It will roll your socks up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened is the same computer that's giving me grief tonight. I had a terabyte M2 SSD and I was down to 53 gig. It doesn't work very well. So I finally bit the bullet and I put more memory. I went to put more SSD in, but wouldn't you know that the screw that I had to remove to put in the new drive was all gnarly. And it was so tight from the manufacturer, maybe it was rusted in there, oxidized or something, but a normal human mortal kind of screwdriver just wouldn't cut it. So I pulled out something that I discovered a little while back, and you'll notice that there's a kind of a finish on this guy. It's actually a diamond coating. So you know how the diamond coatings work really well for fingernail files and other kinds of files. Well, when you put those on a screwdriver and you send them after a totally stripped screw like that, if you don't break the circuit board, maybe I did in this case, but if you don't break the circuit board, you can get a lot more torque than you would with a mortal screwdriver. So so I was able to actually salvage this.
Wow!
Get it out there, and this is just it was the one size 3-inch, I guess, but this one's made by Steelman. And so now you can see, just look at I was able to work that screw. Can you believe it?
Well, let me guess. Carl, you put the screw back in when you were finished, right?
I did. I mean, where do you find a screw like that, right? It's like 0.5 millimeter long with a dozen threads, and it's...
Oh, man.
And I have the superhuman screwdriver to undo it. So... And probably this SSD will last forever. So I left a note in there that says use the diamond coated PH1 next time, as if it's not obvious.
Do you have a link for that, Carl?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's I've been doing some research. So I'll send we'll call it 818. I've been doing some research, and there are some other options I've found that I've decided to play with, and it's interesting. So, so the first one, these Ryobis, this just came in the mail today because what's nice is that those they're all part of the screwdriver. But what happens if you want to hook it up to an impact? An impact driver, or like I have some drivers now that have really long lever arms you can attach. So what do you do for those? Well, the last time I searched, I couldn't find any, but there's a bunch of options out there now. So like Ryobi, this was $10 at Home Depot, and they definitely they're diamond coated. So the interesting thing is that when I compare the coatings on some of these, there's like a fine grit and a coarse grit. So my daughter was trying to move out of a rental place this last weekend, and she had to pull some screws in the wall that we only put in there in February, but they were in so tight that the heads were all boogered. Right. So what does she do? Well, I sent her to Home Depot, and for $20, the link I put in there for the Husky screwdrivers, it did the trick. And those have a really coarse diamond coating to them. So really strong and grippy things. And then the last one I have, it's another set kind of like this, but it's made by Milwaukee. I have it coming in tomorrow. I don't think it's coated like with the diamond grit abrasive, but unlike these, I don't know if you've ever looked closely. I have a video I've started, but when these drivers wear out, the little fins, especially on Phillips, they get all twisted and worn down. And then all they do is they strip your screw heads. So the last link I put in there from Milwaukee, they have some kind of super treated metal tip that it's an impact screw head bit, and they give a lifetime warranty. So if you actually manage to wear it out, all you have to do is send a photo of the worn out bit, and they'll send you a new one. So at least I suspect those will be able to hold their form, and not bend and wear out like some of these others. So anyhow, that's my latest Quest tool update for tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, diamond coated. It's amazing. It's amazing. Gives you a license to strip the screw head.
Yeah, it sounds kind of weird, but on the certain Swiss Army knives, there's a very thin set of pliers. It's, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch, for across the jaws. And sometimes you can actually grab the sides of the screw like that and twist it out. But it doesn't, in a lot of cases like that, look like I forget what they called it. It's got like a tapered sides. Anyway, if that's flush, there's no grabbing anything. So
yeah, right. If it's a nice cylinder on the inside.
Yeah.
So the plan of attack I have now is that I have a couple of super hard, brand new driver bits now, so that those will be my go-to default. But if there's the least little sign of slippage, that garbling the head is right around the corner, and at that instant, those super hard drivers will go away, and the superhuman diamond-coated ones will come out. Because I'm done with stripping screws if I can avoid it. Especially because I got a whole bunch of 60-year-old rusty ones to pull out.
Sometimes I wonder about a lot of those screws. They look like Phillips, and I wonder if they're the Japanese, I think it's JIS screw.
Or PH2, like that. There's a bunch of different, who knows?
Yeah, they look very much like a Phillips screwdriver, but some of them, the socket hole isn't as deep. And you need a blunter tip screwdriver to fit it.
Yeah, and that's another thing that the let's see, this brand I found, Tekton, Tekton, they were advertising on their drivers. So like if you look at this one, you'll see that the tip, it comes to, can I even pull it out?
Like a blunt point.
Yeah, I mean the tips come to a pretty sharp point on these. And what Tekton was doing was they were chopping them off and making them much more blunt, so it could get deeper into the screw head.
Yeah, and I think some of the JIS screws are like that. So when you use a normal Phillips, it doesn't go deep enough into the socket, I guess, in the Phillips head screw, and so it's sloppy and it twists out.
Yeah. So who knew that there were so many varieties? I think I can't even get it out. It's going to show. Yeah.
You need a tool to get the bit out of your bit set?
Basically, there's got to be a tool for that. All right. Well, anyhow.
If there is, I've got a broken bit in a magnetic bit holder that, I kept it. It's probably 15 years old now. I'm still hoping I can get the little piece of bit left in it out of it. Probably should just give it up and throw it in the trash.
It's a quest, Ray. You can't. It's bring it to the contest, and it can be like King Arthur and the sword, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well,
free
raised
bits.
You will win absolutely nothing if you get the bit out of the bit holder. No.
Get the right to trash talk somebody.
Yeah, I kind of lucked out. The driving down the road, and I saw this black thing on the side of the road, and it's this crazy assortment of individual bits and sockets. There are some PZs. I've never even heard of those. PZs, PHs, an S series, T series. There's, they're all in these little, these things.
Yeah.
So none of them are diamond encrusted, though.
I can't imagine how long some of these are going to last or not last, but.
Anyway,
it's crazy when you have to buy a $20 set of bits to get one that'll last for 5 years.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had one of those drives and a memory stick that I bought when I bought my laptop, and I still haven't put it in. It's like, just before the laptop dies, I'll put this in. And,
hey,
or that'll make it die, Well,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
I just upgraded my work laptop to 64 gig of RAM. And I'm thinking back to the old days when I built my second PC. It had a 10 meg hard drive.
Oh, yeah.
The first one just ran off floppies. The second one had a 10 meg hard drive, and there was nothing I could do to fill that hard drive.
Yeah.
Now I got a PC laptop with 64 gig of RAM. Never mind 3 terabytes of hard drive in it as well.
Yeah, my first PC had a 5 meg hard drive.
Yeah.
And now the cache on the processor is more memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And your watch has 64 gig of flash. I mean,
back then nothing had graphics which ate up the memory.
This has a 1/4 terabyte.
Nice.
Damn.
I remember in the mid 90s, Pentium processors had just come out, early to mid 90s, and Toronto Airport, there was a transport truck, in come a load of Pentium processors on a plane, and somebody walked in, knew what they were getting, grabbed the truck and all, and disappeared. Apparently it was $5 million worth of processors. And at the time, there was no serial number on them, so they weren't traceable, so they just got sold to the PC market.
A case that in the San Francisco area where they actually closed down the freeway to capture a bunch that had gotten hold of the truck that had the $1 million worth of Pentiums in it.
Wow.
Well, I do have one more brief update. It's technological, but not robotish.
It works.
Let me start off sharing my screen here. Hopefully this comes up with a picture. Did that happen?
Yeah.
Says all sky camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so an all sky camera is a camera that you point straight up with a fisheye lens, and it basically gets the entire sky in one picture, the whole circle. And the point of that, I'm going to stop sharing because that was the only thing to show there. The point of that is that you get to see what the weather is in a time-lapse pattern. You can time-lapse all the clouds. You can time-lapse the stars moving. And it has some interest. And so I got my old Raspberry Pi 3 that was sitting around with nothing to do. And I put this RDCam fisheye lens on there with that software that you were just seeing about All Sky. And I'm going to set this out in the middle of nowhere in West Texas where we have a dark sky site. And I'm going to be able to see if it's cloudy there before I make the 2-hour drive is basically what I'm up to. Because you'll be able to remote to it and see, has it been cloudy today? Has it been cloudy? Are the stars out? If there's a meteor shower, you see all the little streaks going tick, 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 tick through it. But a nice little time-lapse picture. So it's an interesting use for my little Raspberry 3 that basically had no more uses because I only work with 4s now. So just a little quick update on some of the technology that kept me busy this week instead of the robot. I really wanted to get that done. Still haven't got it mounted. You notice it is sitting here loose. It's not inside its weatherproof pipe, but that's because the little dome that goes on it isn't due to arrive yet. And I want to have the dome correctly measured to make it waterproof. So need it to attach things to so that I can then make everything waterproof inside of yet another really big piece of PVC pipe. My favorite computer thing. Sorry about no wood here.
So I was looking for something else in my pile of electronic junk and came across this. I think it might be 50 years old now.
What is that circle?
It's an ultra, like a Polaroid camera ultrasonic transducer. And this is the board that drives it. So
they were in the day.
That's right.
That's what David.
They were the thing to use. They were the best sensors to get, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
J-Bot from David Anderson uses those.
Yep. Yeah, I think he's got like 5 of them on it or something.
Yeah.
Or 3. I forget which. But yeah, I even kept the somewhat yellowish, data sheet from Texas Instruments on it. It was a TI module. So I don't know if you can see that up there. But yeah.
Cool.
So like I said, it's probably 50 years old because I think I got it in the early 80s. So, pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
You guys are thinking, man, what a hoarder. Kept it for 50 years.
Oh, we know that.
I used to keep all that stuff. It wasn't that long I threw out my dual floppy system Commodore. Stuff that I am never going to use again.
What?
Although I still have a 5.5 inch or 5 1/4 inch floppy that I'm dying to get the information off of, but nobody's got a drive.
God, I hate to say it, but I have a desktop that still has a 5 1/4 floppy drive on it. So
does it work?
I think it does. Yeah, I haven't powered it up in a long time, but last time I did, it seemed to come up
I may
okay.
slip you my floppy whenever we meet again. Say, email me those text files that are in there.
Tell me what's on this thing.
Well, I know what's on it. I wrote a bulletin board system way over there. Most people don't remember. And I wrote it for the original IBM computer. And I wanted to update it as a website without having to retype all that code. So I've got a number of basic programs on there, .bas programs, that I just really love to have them back in a text file.
The good news is that those 20 and 30-year-old floppies, they'll have larger magnetic domains, so I think they'll be more stable.
Right.
The bad news is that, from what I've read, a lot of magnetic media, 20, 25 years, it's going to start to flip on its own,
Right.
So you want to read it out before too long, because I don't know. I think I'm in a similar boat as you. I got closets full of old PCs with media, and I got a file here, 3 files there.
Yeah.
But
Tapes.
okay, I don't have coax Ethernet anymore. So, and it didn't have USB. So I'm gonna have to get a logic analyzer and go memory by memory cell. I mean, what am I gonna?
Yeah. Technology.
Oh my goodness.
I've got the same thing. I don't have a floppy. I have a floppy disk, but I don't have an interface to USB or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've got probably half a dozen disks I kept, 3.5-inch disks, that I want to read. I want to get one file off of it. And I'm just down to the point where I'm not going to spend whatever it is, $30 or $50 to buy a floppy disk,
Right.
USB adapter to go read one file.
Yeah.
You know, it just, every time I think about the same way that we're all describing it here, it just piles on the respect that I have that grows every year for those guys at NASA, right? With V'ger, 2.6 billion miles away or whatever it is, and they're still pushing code to it to squeak out another half a dB from the antenna.
Yeah.
It's like, and you know, the development, the tools that they're using, they're 60 and 70 years old.
Right.
You know, they're keeping this stuff going.
For training, yeah.
The compiler runs on a XP box, but okay. No one knows how it runs, so we just keep it going.
Do they know the baud? Do you know the baud rate that they send out to Voyager? I doubt it's 9600 baud.
It's probably one baud. It's probably one baud.
Yeah,
One
gotta
baud.
be.
It's probably on a gigahertz waveform or something, but it's probably fairly slow data throughput.
Yeah.
I don't know. How does the power spectral bandwidth thing work?
For long distance, I don't know.
Yeah. I forget. It's been too long. So what other topics do we have for tonight? Now that we've been hiding from handing out candy anywhere, it seems, all of us.
Well, I did that already.
All right.
The Rangers are winning 10-0.
Okay.
That's good. And nobody comes to our house. We have a gate at the front.
So, I have something else I can show you all. I found, speaking of people and gates and stuff. So let me click on this. Click on that. And I think that's the one.
Yeah, I don't think they can shoot eggs at the house. It's too long for this.
So there's this one, Monster in a Box. So it's sort of a robot-ish thing, as you can see with the sensor. Okay, I think there's a video somewhere in here that I'm getting to eventually. Where was the video? I saw it.
When I was a kid, they had those, and all you had to do was turn the crank on the side of the box.
Yeah, well, you have to walk up to it. You can see the light comes on. So the light comes on. Get a little closer to it. Starts moving.
Oh, nice.
Get a little closer.
Excellent.
So yes, next year, here's something else that can be scare the people.
So no projectile puking or anything?
It does
That is a
look
cute one. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cute. It's not that hard to make, it looks like.
Well, we'll have to get an update from John G. I'm gathering that he's probably been pretty busy with this spider for tonight. But
Oh, look at this.
That's why I said it's cute.
Could be hours of entertainment for your cat.
It could be. So yeah. So that's why I thought that, yeah, it's, you can see.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping John was going to be on so he could show us, give us a video of what he had set up. It'll be interesting. Maybe next week.
Maybe next week. I mean, this is the big night for him, though, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a very simple, nice, cute, not all that hard design. I don't know what they ran it on. It's the raspberry. It was like.
Yeah, you might need to give him a week to recuperate after Halloween, and then he'll tell us about his latest project.
Mm-hmm.
Wears himself out to Halloween,
But yeah. So I thought that was cute. As another Halloween type design.
Cool. I got the links for it in the chat there. Well, let's see. Anyone else? Do we have some more pull from thin air things for discussion? All right. I'm gonna suggest we call an end to this Monday. At least it's felt like that, the way everything's falling apart around us. So, well, move to adjourn, and let's revisit next Tuesday. Sound good?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Good to see you.